the program was very new. They've only had, like 100 kids go through, so that first group, and then a couple of others, maybe 200 kids went through. And it was part of High Five Tickets to the Arts, and the High Five program is a ticketing program that makes $5 tickets available. We work with cultural institutions around the city. They donate tickets to us so that we can make them available, so the kids, first of all, have access to it, and it's affordable. They can bring a parent so that they can go with their family and they can be mentored. So at a younger age, they're exposed to it earlier. And so they were looking, the TRaC program was conceptualized as a way to really build that other program, to build the ticketing program, to build awareness. What's a deeper way that the kids can be involved in an organization that, we're not an institution, we're not a museum, we don't have a collection. Like, our goal is to explore. Our goal is to send kids out and get them into the world. So setting up a criticism course or a reviewer's core really made sense with that. So you have kids who are writing about that experience, they'll then be able to share that experience. They get an in-depth look at a couple, a particular discipline, and then they're meeting other kids from around the city, so you bring together kids from different neighborhoods, different areas. And so that was the thinking behind the development of the program. There's several key things that happen. There's discussion, so materials that are brought in that give context to what they've seen or what they're going to see. So, whether that's YouTube videos where we're showing pieces of work and talking about how to describe it, you can do that with dance and film. And, bringing in reviews that are written or pieces of criticism or ideas. We do a lot of free writes in response to things, peer editing one another's work, maybe taking one piece. There's different ways you can go about sort of talking about the writing. We have the guest speakers come in, so we'll have, if they go, say for instance, TRaC goes to see a play, and we can get one of the actors to agree to come into the session. We'll kind of give the kids prep that so-and-so is coming, so you think about interviewing, what are the questions you want to ask this person who's coming in, and then they have 45 minutes during one of the sessions to speak with somebody who was part of the production. Or we bring in critics, David Cody from Time Out New York. We've had Ben Brantley's come in. I'm thinking of names that people would know, but lots of people who are writing. Fong Yu, we went to the Brooklyn Rail and spoke with him. So people in different areas. So they're meeting critics, playwrights, actors, dramaturgs, trying to introduce them to the arts community. So it's sort of like a balance between guests and writing and discussion. Yeah, I think of, Bowne as literacy and like evaluation. Certainly that's been my experience. And cultural literacy and reading and sort of reading the city, reading the artworks. That's why it's a writing program. We use the writing to sort of help kids get their ideas out. So that action research group was incredible because it brought together a bunch of different voices. I still remember some of the people who are in that group, and observing, like what is it that you want to step back and work on? What are things that you'd like to improve? And that's sort of the action research process. I always think about it as like, where can the program go? And I think that one of the things that the Robert Bowne Foundation especially, there was several workshops I did, evaluation workshops and in the action research, but they allowed me to pause and say, let's see what we have and reflect, sort of my introduction to, think about how you can evaluate what you're doing, where are places you want to improve, what are the things you need to do that, and then spend some time observing it, go through the process, keep a journal, write out kind of what's going on, what's difficult. Those are things that I still do. I I still have a marble notebook that I have an ongoing thing of like things I'd like to accomplish or things that are challenging, and just ideas that come up. And that was a practice that I started in that action research. There are definitely deep friendships that are formed, which to me is evidence that it's working, right? So if they're going out and having this arts experience and they form bonds with each other, like it's gonna last. That was where sort of friendships blossom. And so I think that stuff's almost as important as like how interesting the guests are, and how good the performances are, or how interesting it is. Like if you can help them connect with each other. Sometimes I always think the table is probably the most interesting place that they'll see. These kids from all over different schools, they're all there because they want to be there. You don't get that classroom everywhere. Definitely none of them in their school life are having like these everybody, maybe in graduate school or something, you'll find a class or, very niche things. But everybody wants to be in that room. Everybody came in to think about writing, and they're coming from different places. So the dialogue across boroughs and socioeconomic lines, and that stuff is really rich. And I think that it almost feels like, it's a really truly diverse program in the word diversity. So you have those voices, 12 voices from all over. I think that really makes a big impression on them, but it's also exciting for the guests and for the instructors. When High Five had its financial issue along with the rest of the world in 2008, the board put together a task force to kind of look for a place where we could make the programs live. The organization wasn't going to be able to survive, it wasn't going to sustain, so they started immediately trying to find places where it would make sense. And Arts Connection, they had a vision for what High Five and TRaC could do. They have, Arts Connection works in the elementary schools and in the middle schools primarily, and they have artists going in, and so there's sort of that first level of like engagement in the arts. And the vision was then, if you bring on High Five, then as they become high school age and even in middle school, they can start utilizing the programs for arts going. So if you think about the different components of kind of a real art education, there's the practice of it, and there's the attendance, like you have to go and see and see what that art is. So I think that it moves in the conception of Arts Connection as a whole. We have these programs for in school, and then once they're in high school, they have these opportunities to then like go out of their school and visit places and be a part of a program that's not necessarily tied to the same kids in their school. So it's a real complement that creates a comprehensive path for like one kid, who could start in a dance workshop and then go up, see dance performances with their parents or their family, and then take the dance critics course and like write about it, meet dancers in the world, and that's a pretty comprehensive education of the form and the city and writing and learning about their own expression. So TRaC is kind of a small program within the Arts Connection world, but that gives it all the more exposure, and the High Five ticket program is now part of Arts Connection. So we're way out there in the schools, whereas it was very difficult for us to have a presence. Now High Five has a presence, the High Five program has a presence, the TRaC program has a farther reach. So it's just become part of a larger concept.
I'm eternally grateful to the Bowne Foundation because at the point at which we started a program at High Five Tickets to the Arts, which we called the TRaC program, Teen Reviewers and Critics, they were the funders that came through, took the risk, and funded us from the beginning. And it was that kind of seed money that enabled us to move a program forward that was brand new, had never been done before, and turned out to be, I would say, the most exciting teen writing program that I have ever encountered.